1985?
1985, September 9, 1985.
That's why my memories are getting.
Oh,
Okay.
don't kill
Who could
yourself.
fill in the gaps?
Okay,
Don't
because
kill yourself.
1971.
Okay.
1985, but tell the story. When do you start working at Cannery? You're
That's what you
yeah,
want.
Yeah, from everything until you went to
Yeah.
strike.
Okay.
When you first started working there and everything, how
So-
it ended up in strike.
Let's start by you stating your name, and then you can start telling us your memories, your first memories of the strike, how you got involved, how you came here, and then we can start anytime.
Okay, my name is Lydia Lerma. I live here in Watsonville, California, and I work at Watsonville Canning Company for 31 years. And I'm gonna try to tell you the story about when we went on strike. At that time, we started, they were telling us that we were gonna be on strike. But at that time, I didn't believe it, that we were going to go on strike. But in the morning, suddenly they said, we're going out. We already had gone at 5 in the morning to work that day. And in the morning, and when we got there over there, we were going to start working. And then they start coming on. We're going out, we're going out. You know, so that's how it started. Then we start getting organized, crew car, and a glory band crew, and all the people that were going to be the head of the, at first at the store I wasn't the head of the food committee. You know, I was in the committee, Elsie was in the committee at the time, but then after that she didn't like the job, so I took over helping her and doing whatever she didn't want to do. So that's how I got into the food committee. And it was about food. We have to get organized to see how much food we were going to get and get the people that were going to be helping at the warehouse. And it was going to be writing the names of the people that were working to be sure that they get the baskets or the bags of food or they were going to get every other week. So there were about 1,800. At that time, dig shop peoples were out too. There were no strike too. So there was 1,800 peoples at that time. So we started getting organized. They didn't want to get involved into the food or anything. So the Watsonville committee started getting together, having meetings to get the people that wanted to get involved on giving out the food, and the truck drivers to go to San Jose. At 5 in the morning, we used to take off to San Jose. Every Mondays, we would take off to San Jose, and we would go to the warehouses over there and start getting food, start getting cans or whatever they had that we can get over there. About 10 o'clock, we had to start back to Watsonville, instead getting everything again organized. The people that were here, they were getting ready for us when they were here. You know, the other ladies, the rest of the crew, you know, in the committee, and the bands that would help us get things started every week. Start sorting everything, getting all the cans, and we had to be sure that we would get at least 1,800 cans or whatever. We had to, if we didn't have 1,800 cans, we have to substitute for something else. But it has to be that we have to have 1,800 things, not only one, but it has to be that box. We tried to make it decent, but sometimes we couldn't. There was complaints, but we couldn't help it. We just got whatever we could and whatever we get donated. If we go to the stores in San Jose to collect food, they will say, why don't you go back to work? That's the best thing you can do, instead of standing outside the door and collecting cans. I said if we could, we would go, but we have to be on strike to get what we want. If we don't, we won't get our insurance or pension or the money, the salary, that we wanted. But mostly was health insurance. That was the main thing. To me, it was the main thing. Probably a lot of the people's and their pensions. The salary was okay, but we were gonna be losing. And still we did lose some of that money, the wages. We lost the wages, but at least we got the pension and the salary back, some of the salary back. So it was hard, but we had a lot of help, and we all tried to get together and help each other. The people that we work together, we tried to get along. And if somebody couldn't come, we tried to get somebody, another truck driver, and even my husband would help us with drive the truck, because at that time, when he wasn't out from work, he was out from work for the seasons of the lettuce. That's when he would come and help us. Even after the lettuce, he would come and help us at the warehouse, So he really supported me. Still, it's hard to talk about. But at that time, we almost worked about 14 hours sometimes. It was that we had to collect so much food, but we did it.
You gotta.
So they were very. Anyway, it was hard because sometimes we didn't have enough, and we substitute some others, and sometimes we didn't have enough candies to put in the box for the whole family. He said, "What happened? I got 3 kids. I had 5 kids." I said, "But all we can is, this is all you can have, 3 candies or 5 candies. We can't put more because we already divided what we can do in some of the boxes. Because we have to, like the beans, we get the beans, and we have to, need so many beans on each bag. Like we have to get about 1,000 bags of beans, 100 pounds, 1,000 bags of beans, and from that we had to divide to be able to have those 1,800 bags to give to each person. How much? About a pound each bag that we would give out of beans. Imagine if the family just only had 5 in the family, or more than 5.
Yeah,
A pound of beans wasn't too much. Yeah. But then after that, it was like they started getting together, the other peoples that wanted to help the strikers, and they would start bringing from other cities. We used to have like campaigns, and here with all this, they would have like trucks and cars.
Students. The
Students
students from the universities helping
Auckland,
us.
everywhere in Gabriel. And here you would, because we used to have our meetings, the big rallies at the fairgrounds, and you would come, they would come in this like a, how you call it?
Food rallies for food.
Yeah, but the trucks and pickups, they would come just like a,
like in a row, one
yeah,
line after the
tailgate.
other, like
a
a carrot.
tailgate.
Tailgate.
And
Yeah.
we were supposed to have the food because we would sell it so we can get money for food. So everybody had to do some stuff, 50 pounds this, 50 pounds that, and rice and beans and turkeys. At that time we used to get a lot of turkey, so the people that would know how to make tamales, they would make a lot of tamales, turkey tamales. So, and that's everybody that was in the committee would make these big pans, so we could have a lot of food to sell, to make money, to be able to buy more food for the food committee. So that's how it was. But these others would bring a lot of food.
Tell her when Jesse Jackson was here.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
We
big
had
rally.
this big,
And you
big,
guys cooked for them, for
Yeah.
7,000 people.
Yeah.
Your food committee.
the food committee.
Organized.
We had one at the park, Callahan Park, and then the other one we had at the high school, in the cafeteria. So we had to divide the people of the committee. Some of them would stay over there because that was going to be just just fruits. it was going to be at the high school cafeteria, and over here was going to be a barbecue. So the peoples that were going to go buy the tickets for that, they would go over there, and the people that would go to the barbecue, they would come to the barbecue. But everybody had to have a ticket if they wanted both ways to go to the cafeteria and over here to the to the park.
They had a march with Jesse Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse Jackson, because he came to the rally. Right?
Yes, oh yeah, he came to the rally and he made his speeches and people and everything. So he was there like almost all day, wasn't he? So he was in the, first he went to the cafeteria at the high school to make a speech over there with the people over there, you know, because maybe some of the people would come over here. But a lot of them bought 2 tickets just to come over here, but still they could come and see him. But they weren't able to get the food because they had to have 2 tickets. And we had, a lot of people had donated for the food, you know. That,
Did they march?
And, oh yeah.
Did they march from the high school to the?
Yes, they marched from the high school
To the Callahan Park.
To the park.
Callahan Park. So it was very, people that never had seen Jesse Jackson in person was so loud. We had so many people. There was no space nowhere, it seems.
You were so busy.
And the thing, I was the kind of person, and I'm surprised I'm talking to that to you. Because I was the person that my voice would go away.
Shy.
And then I would let somebody, Grace Mendez, would get the interviews instead of me. Like when we went to San Jose, I said, no speeches. She can go on because she was my assistant, you know. So I said, I let her go do that. I do the work, but don't ask me to go over there on top of the auditorium. Because I just went one time, we were supposed to collect money for this, and I was supposed to make the speech. I stand up, and that was it. My voice just went dead. And I had to sit down. I said, that's it. No more speeches for me. I can do anything else, but no speeches. But I was always, wherever there was food involved, I tried to be there, you know, to give help to the
So you
others.
came a long ways.
We're so lucky.
Yeah, we're so lucky to
That's wonderful.
she's letting it all out, I guess. She's been holding it
That's
back
so
since
wonderful.
1986.
Oh, we're lucky. We're lucky we're doing
Yeah,
this today.
you are lucky.
You're lucky. You're lucky. Believe me.
They keep rejecting the contracts. They didn't like it. They didn't like it.
No.
At the last, we still fight for it. They wanted to give us, when we went to San Francisco, remember? They wanted to give us something else. I said, no, you promised us when we went to the last meeting, because Cruzetti got combined with Watsonville County. And he wanted to bring his people first. I said, that wasn't the speech you made at the hall to the peoples. You promised our peoples that Watsonville County would come first. After our peoples that were in, then you would bring your peoples.
At the tail end.
Yes, but then they didn't say nothing. Well, that's the promise he had promised, you know. So when we went to the negotiations in San Francisco, they wanted to give us another deal. So everybody had wrote whatever they were gonna say, you know. I had my letter. Chavella has the letter. Yeah, to bring it all up, the negotiations that had talked in the hall. So we went over there to fight for it. He helped me. He helped me write the letter, because even write it for me. I was telling him, and he was, because I had told him about the negotiations at the hall. And he wrote it. I said, you write it, and I'll tell you, because I wouldn't even understand my writing, I said. So when I started reading, well, everybody said their speeches in writing.
Pray, would you?
Yeah. Did you do it? Okay, so everybody, I think I was the last one, thank God. Even so, I had reading, but when I started reading, I still remember it very clear, because I even know I was got mad at that time, because Serge wanted me not to read it by the paper, but I was going to write. And so How you call that guy that was interviewing us?
Which one?
The one was doing the negotiations for us.
NLRB? The guy for the government?
No, from San Francisco.
Oh, what was that? It was a judge.
Oh, well,
It was a judge.
The judge.
It was a
He
judge.
said everybody has written the letters. You know, why can't she read hers? So you let her read it. So I start reading all what they had told us in the negotiations. And so I keep reading and said, then I told them how long I've been in the union and all this. And Serge tried to stop me, not to keep on talking. I said, you let her, the judge told her, you let her finish her speech. So I did finish the speech. And then after we finished our speeches, then they said, then we're going to have a meeting we stand together, the judge told us. So they took us to a room where we had our meeting.
The federal mediation program.
Yes. So that's when they decided how they were going to do it. 3 from Watsonville and 1 from Cruzetti. I said because the peoples from Cruzetti, they had just been out of the work not too long. And our people's been 18 years. At least they can go draw employment, or a lot of them can go on pension plans, and our peoples can get no money, no employment. So why can they go first? Like he promised, you know. That was a promise he made into all those 1,000 peoples, I said, you know. So that's the promise he made, and I think he's supposed to keep it up, you know. That's the way they did it.
Well, what was the promise? That Cruzetti would work first?
No.
No, our people's coming first and then Cruzetti later. And then Cruzetti later, when they merge. And they're taking us to the court. And San Francisco is like when it's like when a football game comes. The judge or the arbitrator came and says, how many people do you got? And then how many touchdowns do you count? Things like that, similar like a football game or a baseball game. But might be a football game. And then decide how many workers from Watsonville came and how many workers from Cruzetti on our count. You know, it's after the merge.
So they were dovetailed.
But during
they were
the
talking about
strike,
dovetailing.
yeah, but during the
10
strike,
and 10 and 10.
yeah, but during the strike, like Lydia says, she wrote the letter and the negotiations because it's like a tentative agreement because it was part of the contract, was part of the negotiations coming out. That's why they need to respecting us, but there wasn't writing. That's why we maintain the majority of the leadership in the NorCal after the things happened because there was an agreement. If it wasn't an agreement,
It was a promise.
you know, it was nothing happened. You know, these already were lost. But it was part of the process of the strike. You know, because after the strike, when the WU comes and take over, says, you know what, the strike is over, blah blah blah. But we need to put them in writing. Not like words. Word doesn't count, so I want them writing.
Not verbal.
There was a writing, that's why part of that, after the Cruzetti and all the merge camp, they survive our people. Because after those fighting, plus the strikers fighting with the company, we're fighting with the company, we're fighting with the union. We're fighting with the international union, we're fighting with the government, we're all over fighting because there was a struggle, you know, start to change everything. During in that times, in 1985, I don't know, maybe you're reading in the books, when the Ronald Reagan approved the free trade with NAFTA, which is Canada with Mexico, it was the first free trade. There was frozen food industry on strike because they take the companies here to Irapuato, Mexico. They're all down there. After that, during the strike, there was TWA airline was on strike. The pilots and the women suit, you know, the helpers, they're on strike. The Greyhound buses. You know, all the pilots and all the drivers industry, the plane industry was on strike.
They came and helped us, they went and helped them.
Because thanks to Ronald Reagan, he's contributed to the free trade. So then what happened? So wasn't a strike for 18 months because of that reason? We're replacing us. So we're a good, interesting Warner, which was more counsel. He has a power with Ronald Reagan, very good power with him, man.
Start deal taxes, and then we were six girls in the family and 2 boys. And my dad used to be a foreman. He would raise whatever he could in the fields. We had food, we had everything we wanted. But then we moved to San Antonio, Texas. And that was a life that you had to work more, to earn the money, buy food. Like my dad, he worked in the railroad, and he would go to the plaza and get vegetables and everything he could, and then he would put us under a tree and try to sell whatever we could from the truck. And we couldn't go home until we have sold all the vegetables, watermelons, cantaloupes, whatever, So that way we wouldn't go to because at that time there was the war. Well, you would know. You were too far.
You're too far, you're not even excited.
I left because that's the way it was, And everywhere I would work. I would go, we work. He would make us, we love it. I used to love it. I used to love my job. I used to like working. My sister, like it. Said, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to go house by house to sell vegetables? I said, because the people need the food too, and we need to get money, I would tell her, So my sister that's right now visiting me, Olga, she would say, okay, I'll go with you, but you carry the vegetables, the basket, she would tell me.
Labor.
Yeah, so, okay, you do that. You just go in, knock the door, and I'll just talk to them. So that's how we started, and I love doing things and do volunteer jobs, since I was small. They wanted somebody else.
But what happened on down the road?
After that, we used to do that. And then my dad said, we're going to get a big truck, and we're going to get people's and take them to Michigan. And I said, okay. So here we go. He put a pan on top of the truck. Here we go. We were 6 girls and my 2 brothers. We get on that truck and another families, and he would take us to Michigan to work in Michigan. And we did all that. And then Ohio. From there we go Michigan, Ohio, wherever there was, tomatoes, potatoes, and cucumbers, you name, all the vegetables that we can work on there. Even planting those sugar beets. After we finish, we would get in the tractor in the back, and we have to be scraping it with a little stick, moving it so it wouldn't get plugged out the machines. So my sister, because we've been very close, my sister Olga.
How old were you?
I was about 8, probably. She would be in one of these machines, and I would be in this other machine. Don't go to sleep. I would tell her, nah, I'm the one that goes always sleep. I said, don't go to sleep, I tell her, because you have to be sure that those seeds keep going on the right direction. And if they don't fall, she's 11 months old already, and because if they don't, you have to tell Dad to stop the tractor. So that's the way we started. After everything was planted, we would come back to San Antonio, Texas, and then we stayed for a while in San Antonio, and we would take off to rural Texas, close to Abilene, Texas, and there we started picking cotton. And then my dad, Mama had a restaurant, so we had to go pick cotton. We would get up at 5 in the morning. At 7 o'clock, we would start going to the fields, and we could see the water that was falling from the tents, falling down, turning into ice. We had to go to work. So we went to work. They put a big fire at the fields over there where we were supposed to wait for a little while until we could start picking up cotton. And it has to be, the whole cotton, pick it from, so that's how we get there, picking cotton and in the restaurant. And I meet my husband because we used to make dances. Well, I mean, because they were older. At the time I met my husband, I was 13 years old.
Very young kid.
13 years old, his dad and his them used to have a picking truck too. They would take vehicles to pick cotton at that time. And my dad was a coach for the football, for baseball. So my husband had joined the baseball. His brother, his two brothers, had joined the team my dad used to have, and they start playing, and we start
Playing too, right?
Oh my gosh.
We can cut whatever you don't want.
Yeah, let's get to rated
We'll
X now.
edit.
You can get to the rated X.
But this is wonderful.
So when
This
did you
is
come to California?
Oh, that's when I did it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but she had to hook up first.
I know.
Yeah, so then we start, well, he wants to know all the story about how.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's
So we
interesting.
start going to, they used to make dances and we start getting acquainted with him. And then at the time, well, there was years back, I was already afterwards 14 years old. And 14, almost 15 years old, not 14. So my family already was going to close the restaurant we have, and the con was over. We were going back to Texas. So, and my husband, he wanted me to run away with him.
Those days, yeah.
Those days,
Okay.
So I was young, I didn't think about it. So, I mean, that's,
So the question is, did you run away?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the
So-
question.
So we had, everything was already packed in a big truck going back to Texas. And then my husband came, I don't
Yeah.
have to.
Well, like I said, he can cut whatever.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna cut
Okay.
it.
Then my husband came with his, he was doing carpentry works close to there. So he came with a car and picked me up, and then they look all over for me. So that after that, I was suspecting, we got married. Then by the time we were coming back to, afterwards, me and my husband went to Ohio. After I had him. I
That's
was
the trouble we get.
15 years old when I had my husband, Santos Jr. Then we came back from Ohio, and we came to rural Texas again, where we were picking cut with his family. So from there, he said, no, we're going to be going to Arizona, because there's a lot of work in Arizona. So we went over there and to where he used to work in the machines picking cotton. And from there we came to, I said, no, now we're going to California. So we started to California. We went to San Jose. We went all over. Then finally we went back to Arizona and then came back and started picking berries. Then we were strawberries. And then we had to get a sharecropper. We had strawberries, 5 acres, and we worked. That was hard work too. That was very hard work. And my husband had to keep on working on with Sakata. That's when he was working with Sakata ranchers on the letters. But I stayed working because I have to keep up the strawberries. Somebody had to take care of the strawberries, and we made sure that they were clean and everything, and peak and everything, but I had other people helping me out. We didn't have too many, because we only had 5 acres. So we only had about 5 helpers to help us. But mostly all of the time we have to irrigate the strawberries, so I had to stay myself and do it because he wasn't there to help me. So I had to do all the stuff that has to be done. I only have the 2 boys and a girl.
And you had them all by that time?
No.
No.
No, at that time I didn't. I only had my son, and then And then I had my other son, Paul, but his mother used to live there too, but we used to live in Sunset Beach, and there were houses where we lived there at the time. So she used to take care of them. So I would be doing what I had to do, and my husband was working in the lettuce at that time. So I had to take care of the lettuce. But then 5 years later, I said, no, that's it. Strawberries not letting us, giving us anything. We're just working and working. And because there were years that they were, the lettuce, well, they were good, but sometimes they had a lot of
insects or
Yeah.
infection or something
at
bad.
that time, you know, they were
Bad
having
crop or
a lot,
whatever.
yeah, it was so bad. We were having a lot of problems with the strawberry at that time. So we started working in the flowers. I did. Start working in the flowers, and he did too.
Nursing.
At the nursing, it was Blooming Masio. So that's where I started working again, doing flowers, cutting flowers and bouquets and everything. After that, I stopped working there. I said, I'm not gonna work no more there. So I went to work at the apples, in the, where you,
The cannery
yeah,
processing.
the one that's,
Valentine's.
yeah, Cannery there. So what I was doing, I was making the boxes in the machine, making boxes for the people that were filling them out. And then I said I stopped because I was pregnant for my daughter. So I had to quit. I said, no more. I'm not gonna make no more boxes. She was born 1960, so it was probably 1959. So I quit working. She was 3 months old, and one of my friends said, do you want to work in the cannery? I said, yes, but I only want to work just a season. I don't want to work all year round. Just a season, I want to go work with the cannery, Watsonville cannery. I said, he went in as the supervisor. That's what Miss Consul. And she said, can I have
The owner's wife.
one of the, well, it was her sister-in-law.
Ida? Ida.
Was her sister-in-law, Mr. Consul. So I said, yeah, he went in as Miss Consul, and she said, well, bring her up so I can see her. She wants to work. He took me over there, but she said, oh no, she has to go back to school.
You were too young.
She's too young to be working here in the cannery. And she said, no, she's not too young. She can go to school. She has 3 children. One is this age, and this other one, and this other one. And the baby's 3 months old. Oh my God, she said. Okay, I'm going to see how good she can do. She put me on the packing line. So I was used to working fast. The ladies were the older ladies. Oh, it's funny to me now, because I said, how could I do this to these older ladies when I'm so used to packing and doing all this heavy work? Here they put me in the line. She just showed me to do what I was. We put 7 pieces of broccoli in the little boxes. So here the old boxes were coming there, and I used to. It was so easy for me, you know. So, you know, I was young and I was used to working. So here the ladies over there, they keep putting the machine up. You know, I better let some of them packs. So I was thinking, not that I'm trying to be, but you want the truth,
Not the brag,
Absolutely.
you know.
But that was what happened.
This
You
is
were
what
fast.
She
You were
was a
ready for
floor leader
that.
too. How can she
Yeah.
can
Oh,
be
that's
the
what
floor
she came
leader?
to really get to that thing, which is
So I can pick, okay. So this, they keep looking the ladies. Okay, she said, I'm gonna move you to another place. Okay. So she moved me on the scales. You're gonna do this. You put the boxes this way, and you be sure the broccoli is straight. Okay. Like it's the weight on the boxes, because you get used to the boxes. You mostly know what the weight is.
just by
So,
feel.
by the feel, I would, you know, I would get it like this and this, and you can feel the weight. So, and over there, the lab girls were checking me because she thought I wasn't weighing right. you know, because you can't go over because there's, or light, they would skip off. Remember the machines? They would skip out. So, no, they were all good. They kept, you know, just right. So I got used to, you know. So they didn't know where else to put me no more. So she said, okay, I'm going to change you to another position. I'm going to put you in the filler. Filling the little things with chop, remember? And before it was different in the chops. So they put me in the chops. I learned fast. I keep doing it, filling up all the little boxes, you know. Well, she changed me so many times. Finally, she put me in the box machine. They couldn't keep, because that I didn't like. I did it because you have to put the boxes in the machine. I didn't like the job.
Too boring.
Yeah, it was boring and it wasn't my kind of job. I need to be moving. It was you fill it up and then you stay right there looking and looking, nothing going on. And then I try not to, I said, I couldn't learn. I said, I don't know how to put the boxes. It's okay. Then they took me to the sprouts. Oh, that was good. I love doing the sprouts. So I was supervisor, 4 liter. I never wanted to be supervisor. They offered me the job when I went to Mexico for vacation. I said no. I didn't want to I didn't like to use my head or writing, nothing. I didn't want to go out. I wanted to work. I wanted to use my hands, not my, you know, this was my body and my hands that I like to use, not my, well, I use my head because I have to know what I was doing and how to get the stuff going. So this is what I became, because I used to make a lot of pack a lot of broccoli. Production art. That was the best production. You see, I didn't stand there looking at them. I was and I was standing there, and I would pack, and they would pack, and then pretty soon the pile was over there where the scales were, but they would work. You know, I worked. No matter what it was, I would work with them
To help them out.
To help them out, and it kind of wasn't afraid, you know, that they'll be watching them. There was one little Filipino lady, I remember. She always used to watch because she would get tired, but, you know, so she would watch me to see where I was. Sometimes I said, I'm right here.
Give me a box.
Yeah, give me that. So it's, I know, so that's what I become, and I worked 31 years there, and until the strike. It was, you know, after we went back, it was the people didn't have that, they were sad, they didn't have the
Motivation.
Like family before.
Yeah, like like a family.
Before.
It was, you know, we were happy working there. Every morning you could see the people coming to work happy. After that, everybody was sad, you know, no matter, you know. So it was kind of
So
hard.
you took something out of it.
Yeah,
Why
there
is
was
that?
something missing, you know, all that had they gone through, you know, and the more that we did, it was appreciated. You know, they remember that how much that we used to do, you know, and then they keep saying we're not doing enough, we're not doing enough. They keep pushing the last months that we weren't doing enough and counting the people's for minutes to see how many broccoli pieces or whatever cauliflower they were doing, you know. So it was really a lot of pressure at the last months that we were there on the strike. But afterwards, there wasn't the same, the happiness there was in that Cannery. You could feel it in the Cannery, even so, wherever you went, even the mechanics, they didn't have that, you know, that they would be happy when they call you to fix a machine or anything. It was just gone. That happiness that used to be there in the family, because it was our second home, you know. Because we used to put a lot of hours, from 7 or 6, you remember, and about 12 hours, 13 hours, you know, we would work over there. So it was our second home, so that was kind of sad, you know, after that. Very sad, you know.
Yeah, actually merged.
And I was in an accident, I couldn't go back to work. I fall on top of the, motor and it broke this.
She's lucky.
Up to now, she's still getting treatment for her.
She's lucky that she's alive.
Yeah. And they didn't believe me. The nurse didn't believe me that I had hurt. Oh, because at that time I said I'm going on vacation. I was going next day on vacation, you see. And that day I had fall. Next day I was going on vacation to Texas. And over there I had to go to the hospital to get treatment. And when I came back, I went back to work. And I was working. I told the nurse, I can't go to work, so, on this pay because my neck is hurting me. Oh, it's just because you came back to work. I said, but I need to go to the doctor. I said, no, I'm not able to say it. Well, I said,